friends. Welcome. Thank you for being here with me. I am Sara-Jane Gage, and I am co-owner of Engage Fitness, a Kripalu yoga instructor, functional fitness trainer, here with you for a 20-minute building balance practice. Thanks for hanging out. So this class is meant to meet you wherever you are in your journey with balance. What I'm hoping to accomplish over the next 20 minutes or so in our practice is to offer you the opportunities to assess your balance, to see where it is today in this moment, in this practice, whatever time of day it is you are practicing with me. And then offer you opportunities to build on and strengthen your balance if you so choose. Wherever you are in this moment of practice, do be compassionate with yourself. If you've practiced with me before, you know that balance is one of those things that is heavily impacted by the time of the day, your mood, how tired you are. All of those things are going to impact your balance. And so sometimes it's going to feel really strong, and then other times not so much. That's okay. Let it be part of the practice and do what you can here. So you do need a couple things for practice today. First and foremost is something to make your surface below your feet uneven. So the easiest and probably most accessible thing for most of us is a blanket. So just have a blanket. It's a little funny looking because it's round, but I have a blanket here. You can grab a blanket, you can grab a towel. If you have your yoga mat, very easily you can roll it over a couple of times. And the more that you roll it over, the more it'll make the surface uneven and give it a little padding. Same holds true for your blanket. So maybe if this is your first time ever trying this with me, fold it just once. If you've done this before, you know where we're going, or you've tried it a couple times, build onto it by folding over a few times. You also want something nearby to help support you for balance. So I have my chair nearby. I'm ready for chair yoga after this, which you can hang out with me at 10 o'clock for if you'd like. You can also use a wall if that's accessible, or anything else. Just find something so that you have the opportunity to hold on if you so choose. Come right onto your uneven surface and then just rock it forward and back a couple of times. We're barefoot here. I apologize, I should have said that at the beginning. We want to practice barefoot. And I would also suggest that you are barefoot as often as possible, particularly on uneven surfaces, because what happens and what you'll notice here is you rock it forward and back on this created uneven surface. Our feet, our ankles, all those little stabilizer muscles and tendons have to compensate to hold us up tall and strong here. And so you begin to get a really natural workout by moving around on this uneven surface with your feet and ankles trying to compensate and keep you upright, right? So that's your first opportunity. Feel free to play with that, fold it over as many times as you like. You can always, of course, build on, take any other movement here that might play with your balance. But that's our first step, is our uneven surface. So that said, come onto your uneven surface. Find your mountain pose so that your feet are in line with your hips. And then build it from the ground up. The feet are grounded evenly. You might feel a little uneven under the feet. Just notice what that's like. Hold yourself up tall and strong. Engage the core. Drop the shoulders down. Maybe you hold on for support if that feels helpful for you. Take an inhale, rise that right knee up to about hip height, and keep that leg active by flexing your toes up towards your face. And then drop it right back down. Inhale, rise it right back up. Make that mental muscle connection with your oblique. And this time, focus in on the standing leg. Start to sit back into your invisible chair with that standing leg. So if we were in our mountain pose to chair pose, it would be our two-legged right into our chair pose, right? We're just taking one leg out of the equation and then taking chair pose. Drop it right back down, bring it over to the other side. Inhale that left knee up high. Exhale, drop it down. Take an inhale, rise it back up, make that little mental muscle connection. And then this time sit back towards your chair, maybe a little, maybe a lot. Rise right back up. Take it over to the other side, rise that right knee back up, sit back towards your chair. As much as you can this time, and as you sit back, take a look down. See if you can see the toes over the knees, and if not, back off just a little bit, either come up higher or sit back a little. And then rise right back up. Take it over to the other side, same thing. Get strong here before you start to sit down into that invisible chair. And rise right back up. You can of course keep building on here. You can take this as long as you like, as often as you like, coming into eventually a full pistol squat. So, opportunity to play there. Another opportunity to build on is if you take that knee rise, find that chair pose shift back. Just like we played with last week, drape the knee over that standing knee for your eagle legs or your Garudasana base. You can hang out right here and just working on those legs, sitting back a little, tailbone tucked. Maybe the toes are planted. Maybe they're on a block, maybe you're sinking in. The hand can stay holding you stable, or you might even play with your Garudasana arms. You decide, single bind, double bind, doesn't matter. Just by covering that gaze, it's going to challenge your balance anyway. And so if you played with that on that side, let's get nice and even. Switch it over to the other side. Sit on back into your chair before draping the knee over. And of course, you guys know, this is just opportunity to build if you so choose. This is not a requirement. I'll be very honest with you, I don't do eagle pose often in my own practice because it just doesn't feel that great for me. It's not one of my favorites, so I don't incorporate it often. You do what serves your body, right? So maybe maintaining your uneven surface if you'd like to continue playing here. If you'd like to give yourself the benefit of an even surface, feel free to move that blanket, that towel, whatever you so chosen to use. And then come back to your mountain pose. Get even in the feet, rooting down. Core engages about 20 to 30%. And then land. Take that inhale, rise the right knee up, active leg to about the hip. As you exhale, step back high on the toes. As you land on the toes, check in with your tailbone, find it at neutral. Core engages, ribs knit down. Stand up nice and tall. As you inhale, rise the knee right back up to that hip, active leg. As you exhale, step it back, land high in that crescent lunge, but again, find that core engagement, that tall, strong torso. Rise right back up, maybe hands come off of the chair, off of the support for a little more challenge. You can hang out right here, flowing back and forth between rising that knee, stepping back into your crescent. Or if you'd like a variation, you might kick the leg back to find your warrior three. Rising the knee up to your hip, active leg. Kicking back, driving through the heel, and keeping the hips squared towards the mat as you kick back. Maybe holding onto the chair, maybe not. Maybe you have hands extended back behind you. Take it a few times on this side. Where do you feel confident here? And where do you want to work to build on? To improve your form a little, to improve the sense of strength as you flow there. Take it back to your mountain pose. Taking just as much time to set it up every time you get here. Land evenly in the feet. When you feel tall and strong, rise that left knee up to about hip height. As you exhale, step back, land high on the toes. Check in with the torso as you do. Tailbone to neutral. Core engages, ribs knit down. Keep this torso long and strong. Before perhaps rising that knee back up to hip. Exhaling, stepping back and landing. And of course you can break this down. If this is too challenging, if you're really wobbling a lot today, step in the middle. Stop in the middle, rise it up, drop it down, step back. We can break this down into as many small parts as we need to make it more realistic, more achievable, and meeting ourselves wherever we are today. So you can hang out there in any of those variations. If you want to build on, follow along with me, rising that knee up to hip, and then kicking back through the heel, aiming that hip right down to your mat. So for a lot of us, I don't know if you saw that, but a lot of us, we want to do this thing. We want the hip to roll up. Keep that hip aiming right down towards your mat, and then rise it up. A lot of that is core engagement. When we get lazy in the core, lazy in the glute activation, we start to dump into joints. I'm saying we, but I totally mean me. That's what I do. Take it a couple more times on this side, noticing the difference between the two sides. Or does it feel just a little easier? Or is it a little more challenging? Just notice. And then come back to neutral. Shake both those legs out. Get a little movement. And find your way back to your mountain pose. Rocking it forward and back a few times. Get stable through the feet. Drop the shoulders down. Maybe you're on an uneven surface. If you're at that place in your practice, you want to challenge a little more. Maybe it's an even surface. Ground down through the feet. Let that left leg be your standing leg to start. Rise the right knee up to hip, nice and active. Start to bend the knee, bring it back behind you. Reach for the foot. For some of us, we'll reach just fine. For some of us, not so much. That's not so important. What you're looking for is to activate the glute, activate the hamstring, and take a little toe tap here. Maybe as you come up, you get a little squeeze in the hand, pulling the leg up, getting a stretch in the quad if you'd like. Maybe it's just a toe tap. You can hang out right here. Or maybe you build on and you turn it into your dancer pose. Reaching for that foot. Kicking the top of the foot against the hand to create a stretch and rounding. And then pitching yourself forward. Maybe using support. Maybe choosing to let go. Begin to slowly release out of this side. Bring it right over to the other side. Taking your time, setting up that mountain. Ground down through the right leg this time. Lift that left leg nice and active. And then bring it right back behind you. Bending the knee, heel of the foot towards the glute. Drop it right back down. Take that tap a few times. Maybe you reach for the foot, maybe not. That's not so important. That's like an added bonus stretch as we go. The next time that foot comes up, you can continue your toe tap, or maybe you play with that dancer pose. Kicking the top of the foot against the hand, creating that rounding, that stretch. The navel stays sucked in, core engaged, before you pitch yourself forward. And if you joined me for our balance practice last week, I talked a lot about our drishti, our gazing point, and how that can support your balance. So if you missed that practice, go back, watch that one. You can find it most easily by going to your search bar at the top of the group, type in balance. It'll come up. But you want to learn how your gazing point influences your balance because it's a big factor with it. So, come back to that mountain pose one more time. Take your gaze to a neutral point on the floor, something that doesn't move. And then as you inhale, rise that right knee up to hip height. Start to slide the right knee out. And then bring it right back in before dropping it down. Take that one more time. Rise it up, out, in. And then this time, opportunity to extend that right leg long. Maybe taking your yogi toe hold so that your left hand grabs for the foot. If you can't quite reach, you might use a dish towel, a belt, a strap, hook it around that foot, make your arm a little longer. And a way to play with balance here, aside from we're on one leg, again, play with your gaze. Maybe you look back towards that right hand, take a twist. See how that changes the shape. Drop it right back down to neutral. We'll take it over to the other side. Noticing the difference between the two sides. Rise the left knee up and out before coming in and down. Take it one more time. Rise it up, out, in, and down. And this time, if you want a little bit more, rise it up, kick it out, before reaching for that big toe to find that standing twist. You might look back towards the left hand, or maybe towards your foot. Before slowly releasing out, shaking those legs out, getting a little bit of movement. And then my last exercise for you here, friends, is a little bit of homework. So while I was considering what exercises we're going to do here today to work on our balance, I came across an alarming statistic that stated that the majority of injury-related deaths that happen to people over 65 is fall-related. It's because they're falling, they're injuring themselves, and whatever the injury is results in death. So the idea with balance is if we can prevent falls, we don't have to deal with all that other baloney, right? And so what I want you to work on over the next week between this practice and next is every single time, you guys are gonna hate this and love it all at the same time. I hate it and love it as I'm saying it. Every time you use the restroom, you're gonna think of me. And you're gonna practice squatting over the toilet, coming down really, really low. And squatting, if you can, the whole time when you're doing like short business, like not when you're in there for a minute, right? When it's short business, it's a quick trip. See if you can hover and squat the whole time. It's really good practice for when we get back out into public and we're going back to Fenway and concerts and things and we don't want to touch the toilet seat anyway, so practice it. If that doesn't work for your body, what you're going to work on is as you lower into using the restroom or even into a chair, I guess we could do it with regular chairs, you slowly lower in. So it's a slow, controlled lowering in, as opposed to what most of us do where we just kind of kerplunk, right? So what I want you to do, homework here, slowly lower. Maybe you hover the whole time. Maybe it's just a slow lowering in. Whatever works for your body, ultimately, fitness is meant to support you wherever you are. If you want a little bit more, come hang out with me at 10 o'clock. I'm live streaming on the YMCA South Coast page for chair yoga. I'll share it here later for easy access. If you have questions, comments, requests, reach out, let's talk. I'm happy to oblige when I can. And until next time, friends, be safe, be kind, choose to be well. Don't forget your homework. I expect to hear how it went over the next week.